My name is Jesse Jones. My friends and associates call me Godfather, or GF. I'm from Chicago, originally from Montreal, Canada, Quebec.
You were adopted?
I was adopted, came to the United States. I would best be described as, my friends say, I'm a network. Now a healer and a mentor.
When you say you're a healer, what does that mean, and who do you mentor, and what's that process?
Well, healing, we try to deal directly with, I'm dealing directly with guys that come from the streets, kids that are adopted or receive trauma. I have no formal education, all experience. Healer is dealing with the trauma that we have or situations that we have that we don't deal with every day. We can easily go get fight or flight, but we don't want to stand there and deal with what I've missed in my children's life and how they were affected by me being where I was and other people, my friends, being where they were. So we want to try to now deal with that situation.
You have a son incarcerated right now.
Oh, I have a son incarcerated, yes.
What feelings, you have multiple sons, and one is in finishing up Army Ranger School, but one's incarcerated.
Marines. One's finishing up Marines, he's in Quantico.
So as proud of him as you are, it must bother you, the tribulations that your other son's going through. What does that make you feel like?
Actually, at a time, coming from where I come from, you accept prison as a part of your life. That's trauma.
And you're from West Side?
I'm from the West Side of Chicago, migrated to Cabrini Green, and was in and out, but associated and heavily associated and in and out of the streets.
And we just caught you in the tail end of a conversation with a friend or business partner of yours, Godfatha.
Yeah.
And tell us about your had some importance in the music industry and entertainment and clubs and stuff. Can you give us a little?
One of the 5 founders of hip hop in Chicago and in the Midwest.
What does that mean?
Meaning that we started rap in '89, but it was cats like Wild Style from Crucial Conflict that was already in the game, but we started more of the open mics. And
you mean you were a promoter?
Yeah, I was a team promoter, and I listened to hip hop when I could. And my mother was a minister, father was a minister, and I couldn't listen to hip hop, so I would go in my basement and hide and listen to it, me and my brother under the cover. And we wanted so bad to have hip hop in our parties, but people wasn't ready for it.
What were they playing here?
They were house music and juke music, which Chicago is the founding place of that. So you had cats like Wild that was already rapping, but man, we was in dance groups and listening to house music, but we wanted to listen to rap also. We started cats to rapping in Chicago, so we started that rap music.
Not long after that, you ended up putting out you were what, the manager?
Manager for Do or Die. Do or Die, you can't come to Chicago, you can't come to the Midwest without knowing who Do or Die is. Like, do you want to ride in the backseat of the caddy? So, AK, Bilo, and Nard. West Side, Chicago, those cats. 40-year friendships with Nard and Dennis, which is AK and Nard from Do or Die. Grew up, same neighborhood, but blocks apart.
Did you have some issues with Bilo?
Bilo and me used to shoot at each other on Chicago Avenue and Holman. There was a restaurant called Beefy's. We all used to go to that restaurant. I was in the opposite street organization than Bilo was, and I wouldn't straighten up my hat. Predominantly, it was Bilo's neighborhood. They called him Crazy 8, and he was loony at the time. And Bilo would constantly, you know, hey man, straighten up your hat. I'm like, it's straight already, you know, talking shit, ordering my food, feeling like whatever, you know. And B-Lo's one of them dudes like, hey man, I done asked you more than once to straighten up your hat. You being disrespectful. And we got this move in Chicago where we'll step out the restaurant because we respect it where we ate, you know, and where we slept. So we didn't try to do too much in our neighborhoods. But if we caught you slipping, it was one way in, one way out. We knew in our heads, we thought this is the outcome. And B-Lo would step out the door and I knew exactly what he was about to do. And this cat would no doubt pull his gun out and start shooting. Like, no, man, I didn't talk.
What age is this at?
Man, we was like probably in our 20s, early 20s.
And then how did you reconnect and get past that to work together? AK is and always been one of my oldest friends. So AK used to be like the premier or elite dancer in our parties. So he'd come to these parties, my brother Clint, and they do these parties, and AK was just like an extraordinary dude. This dude would get up in the air and he'd do a no-hand backwards flip and literally be over the crowd, come down and do, you know, splits, all kind of stuff. Him and a guy named Roosevelt. And he was kind of making the transition as we did the 1 hour rap downs or whatever. And he started rapping. And I remember one night he left and his cat was mad at him. And I won't say the dude's name, but he was mad at him and he shot K. And K got shot, hit between 3 to 7 times. And he was laying on the ground. I remember holding his hand and trying to pick him up, you know, because I'm like, you know, you fell or whatever. And in my mind, he had just fell, but he was like, oh man, I'm hit, you know what I mean? So we were shorties. So to say you were shot, that was some grown man shit. Like, well, we're in our early 20s. You're talking about like, what are you talking about? You shot? Like, dude, if it was 20 of us, we'd be lucky if we had one gun. And it'd be between a 22 and a 32, and it'd be 5 to 6 holes in that joint where you put the bullets. We'd be lucky if we had 3 bullets. You know what I mean? Like, but we didn't have a gun. I mean, you know, we're in our neighborhood where we grew up, and he's laying on the fucking ground dying. But he's still talking. He's not screaming. He's not crying. He's slowly drifting.
He's drifting. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but he's talking to me. Because, you know, people like keep him talking or whatever. He's talking to me, and then, you know, he's just like, man, I can't believe he shot me, and, you know, shit like that. And I'm looking like, man, that's fucked up. Like, but you get angry. So you don't know you're being traumatized right then and there, you know, because you in this shit. And K was like the first dude that, as a friend and a well-respected young brother in our neighborhood, he's the first dude that got shot like that. And he was laying down. It wasn't a whole bunch of blood like you see on TV. And I remember looking at him, and we never mentioned death. And we never mentioned like fear. Like, I remember that. And I remember him saying, bro, just stay with me. And I'm like, yeah, you do the same thing. And when the ambulance got there, I was holding his hand. And you gotta remember, this time, shit, we have been friends probably 15, 16 years. And we was kids, like flipping on dirty mattresses, getting fucking tetanus in our head from fucking all type of shit, and being in the dirt together. And now I'm looking at, he's older than me, and he's the big bro. And he's laying on the fucking ground, and he went to the hospital. And you know what I mean, just fuck that, we don't want to party no more. We're going straight to get our revenge. And it never knew too much about gang shit. He was in the opposite neighborhood that I was. So we were in 2 different neighborhoods. I was in a 3rd gang that was opposite of both of those gangs, and, well, street organization. And
the guy who shot him was in a total different.
Fourth.
So you got 4 activities going on, and we're separated by 3-4 blocks each way. And I'm in a totally different neighborhood that was primarily on the south side of Chicago. I'm on the west side of Chicago, and I got that via Henry Horner's projects.
Well, you live there?
No, I used to spend my summers there. And, you know, that street organization, the Gangster Disciples, affected me differently. But I lived in a predominantly all Vice Lord community, so.